Hi everyone, this is Dee from Passion for Paper Beads on Etsy.com. Today we'll be working with template C1 and C2. This is a continuation, lesson 2, and this is the tutorial that you printed out from my shop, and if you don't have it, you can go on over after the video and pick it up. Today we're going to be working with just page 1. This is the template that you printed out, and you can just transfer it on to your storybook page. We've gone through that in the previous one, so this is what it looks like. Today this is the sheet we're going to be working with. When I looked at this sheet, as I talked about before, deciding which end do you want to be the last part you see on the bead, I decided I wanted all these pretty colors at the bottom. So when I transferred my lines, I made sure that the bottom of the template, because that's going to be the last part of the bead that you'll actually see, is going to print out so that it's on this end. When I flip it over, you can see the lines, and you can see that that's all going to be on the bottom. I've already gone ahead. This is the book that they came from, The Lion King. I've already gone ahead and cut these out, and I'm going to show you how to work with the two different size strips once again. Today what we're going to be working on is making the graduated set of beads on page 2 to make this style of bracelet. So I'm going to teach you how to make all of these different beads using just the one template. I've gone ahead and done these so that they'd be dry and ready to go. What you need to do is you need to take one of your larger strips and one of your smaller strips, and you'll notice that these two, when you put them together, the bottom of the large one is the same as the top of the small one. So what I want you to do is I just want you to put some glue on the end of this, and you're going to overlap about maybe a ½ inch, and then you'll want to do those and set them aside to dry. The bead in the center of the bracelet, the large one, takes 3 of these strips to make the one bead. So I've gone ahead and done these. So I'm going to take 3 of these. And I'm going to line up the tops so that they're all matching. Again, today we're going to be working with the orange bead roller. What I want you to do is I want you to go down to the ends of these. Hold it here. Lift up the very top one, and I want you to go ahead and cut off probably about 1.5 inches of the 2 underneath. Make sure all your ends are lined up so that the bead roller grabs all of them. You're going to go ahead and slide that in. And you pinched it, gave it a few turns. Make sure that all the papers are staying lined up. You can hold it with your pointer finger to stabilize it if you need to make adjustments down here. Now for this bracelet we're only making one of the large beads, so it takes the 3 strips of the triangles. It's really nice how you can print out one sheet and cut it apart, and then when you glue them together you've gone from an 11-inch piece of paper to now your triangles are 22 inches long. It makes a really nice bead without having to have paper that's already very long. So you can see that starting to take shape. When you get down to the last few inches, you want to flip it over and you want to try and get glue on all the ends. Well, I'm probably doing the last, 2.5 inches. Line up all your tips. Turn it back over. And then go ahead and continue winding down. When you get to the end, you want to make sure that you have plenty of glue on that end so you have good contact. And just hold it for a second. And again, just like before, if you have any adjusting to do, it's better to do it while it's still on the bead roller so you have that support of the bead roller in the center. And if you just pinch it It helps line up all those papers so you have less ridges and you'll have a much smoother looking bead. I can tell already looking at these colors I'm going to like this. I love anything that's kind of a copper color or the patina look. And this, it may not show up in the video, but this is going to be a really pretty bead. So now I'm checking it to make sure that the distance from here to here and here to here is even, and it looks good to me. I'll put my 2 fingers behind, pinch it, and turn. So this is the large bead that goes in the center. The next one, you're going to take 2 of the larger strips, line them up, then you're going to cut out the bottom one about 1 inch, and you're going to trim the top one at an angle just like we did before. Go ahead and slide it in your bead roller, give it a pinch and turn it. Make sure your papers are lined up. And I'm just going to keep rolling it down, making sure everything is lined up. And see, I keep bringing my pointer finger in there to help stabilize the paper while I'm working with it. Before I started, I forgot to put the glue on the end. That's okay. We'll just go ahead and do it now. I'm really liking the color of these. Okay, make sure that you have extra glue on the end. And push it into place and hold it. Make any adjustments that you might need to make. And then you want to pinch it, and you're rolling the bead roller back towards your body. And then put it down on your hard surface. I think I didn't do that on the first one. And that is the second bead. So let me check that first one. Yeah, it's fine. So that would be the second bead. Now you need to make 2 of these, 1 for each side. I just want to show you how to make one, and then we're going to go to the next one. The next one is this bead right here, and to make this one you're going to use 2 of the smaller triangles. Again, I want you to go in and I want you to cut out about 1 inch or so of the bottom. Slide them in. Oops, they weren't lined up. See, even though I've done probably thousands and thousands of beads, I still have times when it slips out. And just stick it back in. Go ahead and roll it. Put your glue on your ends. Hold it in place for a second. Check it to see if you need to make any adjustments. And then that will be the next bead. Now we're going to do this one, which is just 1 strip. Take and cut the end. Put your glue on the end. hold it into place for a few seconds. Make sure that the ends are really hooked down. You don't want the end of your paper to pop up when you base coat it. So I'm going to make sure it's really well hooked down. And then go ahead and pinch it, turn it towards you. Just wiggle it back and forth. Press your ends in place. And that's the next smaller bead. And then the last bead, the little tiny one, is just one strip of the smaller triangle. Just I'm going to put my glue on first. These smaller ones are a little bit harder and they take a little more patience just because they're so small. But it just takes a little bit of practice and you'll get good at making these little tiny beads. Alright, flip it over, put a little bit more glue, wind that down, and there you have your little tiny bead that finishes off the end of the bracelet. Gonna see if I need to adjust it a little bit, and then pinch it really good, roll back, and wiggle it back and forth. Sometimes the little tiny beads get a little bit distorted when you take them off, but that's okay because you can just press them down on your hard surface again and get everything to line up real nice. And that's probably really hard to see because it's so little, but my hands are big and in the way. That's the little one. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and pause the video. I'm going to finish rolling the rest of the beads and then show you what they're going to look like when they're all lined up.